Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. Yesterday I brought you a secrets video on how to explore old school Mount Hyjal by entering the Battle for Mount Hyjal raid instance. When I ended that video, I was in an old school Felwood, and I said, if you want to see how I got here, let me know in the comments down below. And boy, did you let me know in the comments down below. So today, I'm going to show you how I got there. Now, I'm still in the Battle for Mount Hyjal raid instance. I'm in the Horde encampment by the troll area. Just follow where I'm actually riding here on my mount, because this is crazy. And it's crazy in as much as, by the way, you can just go up there to the left. For some reason, I like to come onto the right-hand side and jump across, because athletics. You can ride from the bottom all the way up to the top of this mountain. There is actually zero manipulation of mechanics here, unless Blizzard want to call riding a mount manipulating mechanics. So on the left hand side, Horde encampment. On the right hand side, we have some treetops. So I'm going to leap off the edge here, hit my goblin glider, just when you thought I was going to commit Harry-Carry suicide. And you notice that it's not just Felwood that's here. There's actually Winterspring as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you both of these areas. I'm going to show you the Winterspring area because it's really cool, and then I'm going to go across and show you the Felwood area. Now, what you do have to make sure is when you're using the Goblin Glider, number one, there's a 2-minute timer on it, so be very careful indeed about timing this. Otherwise, you could find yourself stranded in the middle of the air, and then suddenly, whoosh, you plummet to your death because you haven't been keeping an eye on how long's left. Number two, hug the cliff face. Not so close as you're going to hit it, but just hug it. Because if you go too far out, you can see where the world ends. Then sometimes the game has a nasty habit of just automatically disconnecting you. And that's not what you... Not disconnecting you, sorry. Just automatically dismounting you. So instead of riding around with plenty of time, suddenly just plummet to your death. That's not what you want. So just be very careful and then land somewhere safe like I'm doing now. From there, I've just decided to go right to the arse end of the map so you can see where it physically ends. Hello, and how much of Winterspring we've actually got to play with here. And there's some really cool little features. Number one, you've got these like marker stones just at the top there. Use my cursor this time instead of big blue arrow to show them off. I don't know, I just like those because they're kind of like old Englishy. And then right down this frozen riverside, again, very nice looking feature. You come across another flowing river which is frozen up, and you can actually see all the way up to the top where it's frozen. And then one of the very first things that we come across, and it's one of those things which gets me all gooey inside, is some old school architecture. Again, looking very night elfish in its construction, but look at that. Isn't it just beautiful with the icicles hanging down and the snow on the top, and yet you still got that beautiful little light. So let's push further into Winterspring, and the plan here is to get to the other side and into Felwood in one swift maneuver, not trying to use any kind of mechanics. This is the ploy for the video. So we're just riding across the beautiful snowy mountain tops. There appears to be quite a lot of large roots. And look! Oh! Also, if I just zoom in, let's get these tree leaves out of the way. Another Night Elf tower. Very similar to the one in Hyjal yesterday. But this time with snow on the top and the icicles coming down. Oh, again, just a very, very beautiful sight to behold. But yeah, you notice that there are loads of roots around the place coming through. They're probably from Nordrassil, making their presence felt in Winterspring. But this is where you've got to be careful now, because the game is literally forcing you towards the edge. Because it's too high and it's too steep to ride up on the left-hand side. So you are being forced to go farther and farther to the right. And yeah, any opportunity that you get like I had now, just push yourself inland a wee bit. You can see where the world ends, literally on the right hand side of the screen. Look at this! Oh my god! That got a little bit bum twitchy right there. Thankfully that tree came to my rescue. I dread to think what would have happened If it wasn't there, I might have actually flown off the edge of the map. Who knows? But you saw how I could just continue on. It just appears to be rather natural in the way that your mount can just make its way across the terrain. So this makes it quite good fun, actually. Up until a point. Well, we're going to get to that point very shortly indeed. But yeah, you do have to make sure that you know, a lot of your riding is done towards the edge, but you should be okay. Just follow the route which I've taken, and you shouldn't, in theory, come across any problems. But here, we've got to be a little bit more careful. So instead of going forward, just go a little bit to the right-hand side, as if you were trying to get towards the edge of the map, which we've been trying to avoid all the time. From there, just hit the left-hand side of that tree, and then just use that rock bit of the mound to get some purchase so you can get up here and around. It looks a little bit more complicated than it is, but you should be fine. And then from there, you can just jump down the side, because we're coming to an area. This looks like it was the hot spring area. Again, all the liquid is not implemented in these areas which can't be seen. And then we have another night elfish building, which makes me believe that this segment is potentially from the lake of Winterspring, potentially, but I think the lake's somewhere in the middle of that map, but neither here nor there. But I think that's what it looks like. It kind of reminds me anyway. So just getting up to the hilltop here for a better view. It's just beautiful looking stuff, isn't it? It's just so cool and beautiful to see. Now then, this is pretty much it for Winterspring. So what we're going to attempt to do now is enter Felwood while still mounted on the horsey. Well, you can be whatever mount you want. I'm on my horsey. So follow it around till you get to those two trees that we're coming up to now. Jump on the right hand side of that tree, and that will allow you to push yourself up forward. There's nothing too steep here that will prevent you from just running towards this change of colour of the scenery. And yes, we are now at the edge of Felwood, so just be very careful. Don't want to die here by, falling damage. Just make ourselves way down. If you are struggling to get down there, if you are worried about maybe just overstepping the mark, Goblin Glider. Just hit a Goblin Glider and go all the way. Somebody said in the comment section for yesterday's video, are you sponsored by Goblin Glider? Yes, I am. Now available at your local auction house for a purchase, approximately 200 gold for 20. Right, so moving into Felwood, we come across a really cool area because we've actually got an active flight path. When I say an active flight path, there's a hippogriff that is moving and appears alive. There is a sentient being, well, kind of, here for the very first time. The building itself, completely empty, as you would expect. There's obviously no liquid. Again, we've kind of understood and gone through why they don't place any liquids in these areas. And then we have this little archway, and if you have a keen eye, look, glaives. There you go. That's as tenuous a link to Legion as you're ever going to get in a Secrets video, probably. And judging by the fact that the alpha is totally screwed, probably the only bit of Legion you'll see for the foreseeable future. Right, so now we have to try and negotiate our way up the hillside and into the other area, because this Felwood map, just like the Winterspring map, was quite, it's deceptively large. I was actually very surprised at how big the Winterspring map actually ended up being. So here I am. I've managed to get to the top, leading through. Just follow the pathway that I go, and I'm going to take my own advice, which I just mentioned before, and I'm actually going to initialize a Goblin Glider here. I don't want to run the risk of plunging down the hillside to my death, because that would mean having to run back in the instance and start all over from scratch. So it's always better to be safe than sorry. So landing in this second part of Felwood now, there's a little something which you still need to know, but we'll get to that soon enough. You'll see that we're coming up to a really cool area. This is one of the most interesting parts that I saw. I was just looking around, and then suddenly, we've got the 3 guardian trees in a circle over there, which was really, really cool. I was so glad when I saw these. That I didn't actually expect them to be there. I thought, you know, there would be no way that Blizz would put them in, would there? But yes, there they are. So if I just try and get around here, get a better angle. There you go. There's the purple one who's got the purple buns in his hair, looking a bit. And then of course the green one and the should we go with a turquoise? Yeah, let's go turquoise for the third one. And then if I just backtrack a little bit, more Night Elf ruins. Night Elf, I'm probably going to have to change that. High Elf ruins, I should really say, because we get to this statue here, and that is a High Elf. That is not a Night Elf. That is a High Elf. So these are High Elf ruins. I slap myself on the wrist and correct myself for every time I'm saying Night Elf ruins, because likelihood is it's probably more High Elf than Night Elf. Woof! Now that we've got that sorted. And also, speaking of correcting myself, whoa! I corrected myself from going off the cliff face there. Yesterday, in the video, apologies, I kept referring to one of the areas as Dark Tide Roost. Dark Tide Roost, of course, is that place in Shadowmoon Valley. Warlords of Draenor must have infected my brain. It's the Shrine of Aviana. But, you know, you were cool. A lot of you let me off the hook with that. So here, we're actually coming to the end of Felwood. But if you saw the end of yesterday's video, you didn't see what I showed you there. So there's actually, if you can just see over that direction, another part of Felwood, which means showing off some more secrets in this video. Now, the rather cool thing about this is I get to take you to the 3rd encampment and the final encampment in the Mount Hyjal raid, and this is the Night Elf one. Also, on the way to showing you this secret, let's just show off a quick little another one. You see the door there is blocked? Well, there's going to be a way around into this building. Just climb up here on the right, and then position yourself, leap over, and hey presto, you've actually landed on the walkway. So you can actually go all the way up to the top. The doors are open from here on in, so inside you go. A nice little bed, a barrier so you can get dressed behind, you know, modesty. There's a special name for it. Somebody in the comments section down below, I'm sure, will tell me what it is. And then if you run back down where you leapt over, that doorway is also open so you can go on inside. So why even shut the door off, Blizz? Hey? And by the way, that moonwell operates off the same rules as this part of the map. So if you go inside of it, you will be silenced for 30 seconds. I advise you not to go inside because that actually silences you from using all manner of things which you're shortly going to be utilising to get yourself to the other Felwood. So, just jump back out to where we were before. I'm going to leap on over to the left-hand side here where these trees are, and there where this big, thick tree trunk is here, just run up the side of the hill. There you go. Yeah, straight through the leaves. And there's another one and do exactly the same, but this one's a little bit more tricky because you've got to hit a couple of ledges here to get up by jumping. What I recommend is going into first person mode and then just trying to jump and get a purchase from there. It can be tricky, and this footage was scooched on because it took me a minute. Sometimes you can ride straight up, sometimes it takes a while. And then from here we're going to leap over to that ledge where I'm marking on with my cursor, but we're using a goblin glider with which to do so. From here, we're going to use another goblin glider just to hit this ledge. Now, the reason why I use a goblin glider as opposed to just a jump here is if you land on this area where the cursor just was, then your character is simply just going to slide down. So you need to get a little bit of a jump on a mount, then the goblin glider, and that'll guarantee you getting up to the top here. And then if we just look out there, you can see all of the Mount Hyjal that I explored in yesterday's video. After the cooldown for the goblin glider has expired, leap off the edge and hit it, and then head immediately over to the right hand side. I know it's very tempting to go off and explore the other areas, especially if you didn't do too much of it yesterday, but if you want to get to Felwood in one piece, then heed my warning, just head straight to the right hand side. The rocks that you can see in front of us, and I'm not talking about the rocks here, I'm talking about the big brown rock to the left hand side, that one right there. That's where we're heading to. And there's a couple of things that you need to be made aware of here. The goblin glider has a 2-minute cooldown. Does this sound familiar? Yeah, okay. It's the same rules apply here. You might actually run out of time on your goblin glider before you land, because it's probably taken us about 40 odd seconds to get to where we are. Plus, Felwood is right down at the bottom, and if you've seen how high up Hyjal is compared to the other areas of the map, it is substantial. So what I use is this area here to land the goblin glider, wait for it to come off cooldown again, and then leap off the edge, and then another 2 minutes to get down to the bottom. One thing that you will notice about this area of Felwood, it is substantially smaller in size. Just look at it compared to the one that we explored a little bit earlier on. But what I'm going to do with this goblin glider is I'm actually going to attempt to land it in the opposite direction, the way that I'm going now, right at the far side. And the reason why is because of these awesome ruins which are high up, which you cannot reach if you landed on the ground. And I was desperate when I saw these originally to have an explore and just have a look and even just take a screenshot or two of myself on them. Okay, so with that done, I just jump down, make my way to the bottom, mount up, and then if we go down here, we discover that there are more night elf, high elf, ruins for us to have an explore. And just look at that view. Ah, isn't it just gorgeous? The ruins there, and then the ruin up in the hillside as well. Now, you'll also see that I'm right by the edge of the map. If I just go to the end of the pathway and then look-see here, you see the world ends, the pathway ends. One of the questions I get asked quite a lot when I do these type of videos, especially when I have to leap off these huge map areas and go to other places, or look down to these sort of pits of void and nothingness. People saying, does it scare you? It scares me. Well, I've got to tell you, I've got to be perfectly honest with you. Every single time I get a knot in my stomach. It's like... So this is where the ending of yesterday's video was filmed. You see the Night Elf building on the right, and then of course we've got the Torren building on the left hand side, and that is essentially it for this area. This was the small one. There's not too much more. The pathway will lead to the edge of the map just in front of us, and yes, I'll head on over to the right hand side and there's a bit more forest, but there's nothing really of interest to have a look at. The bulk of Felwood was at the other side, the one that we saw at the beginning of the video, but it didn't stop it from being absolutely amazing. And I tell you what, and this isn't a stab, this is just a personal opinion, but I get more sense of nostalgia doing something like this than any time walking dungeon could attempt to artificially manufacture inside of me. It just doesn't work. It has to be the real thing. Oh, look at that. You see there, you can just see the trees on the left hand side of where the other Felwood was. So yeah, there we go. Felwood and Winterspring, old school, explored. And I really hope that you enjoyed the vid, certainly as much as I enjoyed putting it together. And if you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links, they're in the description down below, and I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. But before I go, I need to give a huge shout out and a thank you to my channel sponsor, Yaktronics. They're a PC peripheral company that deal with customizing mice, keypads, headsets, and they're also looking at doing customizable mouse mats as well. Head on over to the website yaktronics.com, and if you place an order, use the promotional code BABYFACE for an additional 7% off of it. So there you go. You take care, everybody. Bye-bye.